All right, we are live from Occupy City Hall in Rockford, Illinois. I'm gonna turn this volume down. This volume too loud.
You know what I need to find out, Terry? I know DT go to
Let me see.
Friday.
Turn the volume up a little in the headphones.
Like,
All right, so welcome to live from Occupy City Hall in Rockford, Illinois. I want to go over something that just took place about an hour and a half, about 2 hours ago. About 2 hours ago. So today, Antar was standing trial for his arrest outside of City Hall on day 3 of the occupation. So while he stood trial, we went to the Justice Center to have a live where we set up our table. Then we set up our camera, and me and Ari conducted a live from Occupy City Hall. Terry was there as well, and a community member was also there. We talked about what was going on with Antar and his trial. We talked about the implications that his trial had, and as we waited for Antar to come out, we went out there. Antar's trial started at 3. We got out there and started the live around 3:15. So maybe about 5 o'clock, an hour and 45 minutes or so into the live, somebody came by and let off and shot 7 shots. I don't know if this person was in a car. I don't know if this person was on foot. We don't know. We don't know if this person was in tandem with someone else. I believe it was just one gun that was shooting. But while we were outside the Justice Center, somebody shot 7 times at us. And I want to emphasize at us. One of the bullets, 2 of the bullets whizzed by Terry's head. He said he could feel the air of the bullets going by his head. As me and Ari were I was sitting down at the table. Ari was sort of standing up. When I heard the gunshots go off initially, I thought to myself that maybe that they were firecrackers. I'm like, is that a firecracker? And once we got to the 3rd and 4th shot, I knew it was gunshots, but I didn't know which way the gunshots were coming from. And it was clear that the gunshots were detrimentally close to us. I didn't want to run into a bullet, so I sort of looked around to try to find where the shooting was coming from, where the shots were coming from. In the midst of that happening, again, this is all in seconds. In the midst of that happening, another shot came off and it hit the tape. Another bullet. It was 7 shots, so it was bang, 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 and then a small little space, and then bang, 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 bang again. On the last bang that took place, I heard the table. I heard the sound of the bullet making impact with the table. I wasn't sure if it was the table that it hit or if it was a chair that it hit, but I heard the impact of the bullet on some type of metal. After hearing the impact of the bullet on the metal, me and Ari ran in the opposite direction of where the gunshots were coming from. Terry was in the process of getting low and ducking down as these things were happening. And so after running in the opposite side of where it was at, Terry, I believe, picked up the mic and began to speak again on the live. Again, all of this is on the live from earlier from Antar's trial. One of the things that we'll do is once this live is over with, I'll screen record that live, and we'll put just that specific segment up so people can see it. So after the shooting, we came back to the table maybe 5 or so minutes afterwards. After me and Ari went the other way, we came back to the table. Terry was in the process of continuing the live on. And it should be noted, no police came after these shots went off. This shooting happened right outside the Justice Center. We went and we looked at the cameras there. It's cameras all over the area. So if they want to find out who tried to shoot us, and that it would be very easy for them to do. And I want to emphasize this as well as we continue to go on with this dialogue and this conversation. This was not an accident. This was not somebody trying to scare us or trying to intimidate us. Whoever or whomever, if it's more than one person shot at us, was attempting to shoot us. And again, I 100% believe you don't attempt to just shoot somebody. If you're trying to shoot somebody, you're trying to murder them. You're trying to kill them. So somebody attempted to murder us out there. Somebody attempted to kill us out there. And so there were no rush of police, no cops came out the building or nothing like that. And again, that is, I want to make sure that I point this out as well. That is not abnormal. I've grown up and lived in neighborhoods and frequented areas where shooting take place and nothing happens after the shooting. No police come after the shooting. However, so after this shooting would take place, we would come back to where the table was at. Terry was still doing the live. We would talk to Terry and me. We would talk about what just happened. And I heard the bullet. So I knew that the bullet was still in the area. So once I walked back, the first thing I did before I had any conversation or anything was I went looking for the bullet. I found it in 5 seconds. It was right on the ground. And if you go back and watch the live, I believe we pointed it out on the live, right on the ground next to the table, inches away from where I was sitting at, inches away from where Ari was standing at. And so again, this person who missed this person who tried to kill us and missed by happenstance. This was not an accident. This was not on purpose that they didn't hit anybody. They fully intended to hit someone. And so I come back and I see the bullet. We see where the bullet has hit the ground and ricocheted from off the ground onto the table. And you can see the indent on the table from the bullet. And so then we start talking and trying to figure out what happened and what each one of us seen. A car went by maybe 20 seconds before the shooting happened. That went by, had some people in it. A white dude was in it. He said, "What's up?" out the back window. We sort of gave a "what's up" back to him. Other than that, no more traffic passed in the street in the midst of the time of the shooting. So I don't believe it was somebody in a car. I personally believe it was somebody that was on foot that stepped out into the street. Anybody who knows where the Justice Center is at or knows East State Street, the area, it's a straight shot. It's a open path. I believe that somebody shot at us and it tried to kill us as we were out there. Once they let off their last shot, they took off in the opposite way of where the jail and the Justice Center is at, and they was gone, never to be seen from again. And again, the reason that I want to point out besides the fact that one of the specific reasons I want to take the time out to talk about this in depth and to speak about the specificities of this is because it's very likely that there will not be any type of deep investigation into this. Again, a community member will later call the police. The police will come. I did not give the police any statement or get interviewed by the police, and I did not do that for my ideological beliefs, because I know that if the police want to find out who tried to kill us, they don't need us to do no talking to them to find it out. Within 5 minutes, I found every one of the video cameras was in that area. It is a highly filmed area, a highly videoed area. So it is no need to talk to us or to speak to us. Again, for people who may not understand why we wouldn't want to speak to the police, or why I personally, again, because I can only speak for myself, wouldn't speak to the police. Whoever attempted to do this or tried to do this, unless I see some type of documented proof where this and some type of paper trail, I 100% believe that they have some type of connection to the police department. I 100% believe that they are supporters of the police department. And if they are not connected to the police department or supporters of the police department in some sort of a sense, I think another thing that is important to remember is that the police and the city of Rockford are the people who have done the job of vilifying us, who have done the job of criminalizing us, who have done the job of stigmatizing us. At every turn, we have never used violence. Violence has never been a tactic that we have used at any of our turns. But at every turn, you have seen how crooked police officers have used violence. At every turn, you have seen how the racist mayor weaponizes these crooked police officers to use violence. And you have seen how when these institutions implement this violence and coordinate this violence and enable this violence, it leads to individuals feeling empowered to enact that same type of violence. So even if the police did not directly pay for this person to try to come and kill us, even if the police did not directly tell this person to try to come and kill us, the actions that the police department have done have vilified us and put us in a position where people are willing to try to use violent means to get And I don't think that can be underestimated. Underestimated. I don't think that is a way to overstate that. It's no way to overstate how any action of individual violence that comes upon us as protesters and us as demonstrators, it trickles down from the institutional violence that these departments and that the city of Rockford and Winnebago County have continuously done since May 30th. Since May 30th, it is not a surprise that somebody attempted to kill us or to shoot us when the police department has shot people with pepper spray bullets for protesting. The police department has shot people with tasers for protesting, shot people with rubber beanbag bullets for protesting. They've done everything up to shooting people with actual bullets for protesting. And so it's not a surprise that in a city as racist as Rockford and as backwards as Rockford, that somebody would take it upon themselves to try to go a little bit further. And so let's go back to the storyline. So we would come back after the shooting would take place. We would see where the bullet was at. We would see where the bullet ricocheted off of the table. We would go look and see where some of the video cameras were at in the area. We would go towards I think it's Crusader Clinic. That's over there. We go to Crusader Clinic and speak to some of the people who were outside and ask them if they seen anything or heard anything. They all said that they had just got outside. They hadn't seen anything or heard anything. It was one man who did say he heard the gunshots, but he said he didn't. He said he heard them come from behind him, but he didn't see anything. But it is cameras all over the Crusader Clinic that is down there. It's cameras. The whole area is cameras. So at this point, the Rockford Police Department would end up pulling up and would come to the scene. They would say that they have been called by a community member. They would come to the scene. They would say they would wait for the person who called them to get back there. Once at the scene, the police department asked us a few questions. Again, they asked me if I wanted to file a formal complaint or fill out paperwork. I told them no. I asked them if they were going to go check the cameras in the area because I don't know shit. That's the other part too, and I think people don't have this conversation often enough times. A lot of times, people talk to police and tell police things, and they don't. The police are no further closer to the information or closer to figuring out what happened than they were beforehand. And so I did not call the police, so I didn't have nothing to say to the police. And again, until it is proven otherwise to me, the only enemies that I have are the police or people who are pro-police or friends of the police. And so it's going to take a whole lot of information and a whole lot of proof for me to not believe that the reason my life was put in jeopardy in the first place was not in connection to these police officers. These police officers who have put my life in danger by imprisoning me. These police officers who put my life in danger anytime I have an interaction with them because they are violence workers and people who work in violence. What's up, brother? And so that is the main reason in which I didn't have a desire to converse with the police, because if anybody, if I'm doing the thing that if I'm investigating like how the police investigate, and I got to go through with the list of people who are likely to have been the ones who just tried to kill us down at the Justice Center, the police would be at the top of the list. The police would be at the top of the list. And so I don't know anybody else who would, if after somebody attempted to kill them or somebody attempted to shoot them, would go to the person who would be most likely to have attempted it in the hopes that they can find out who did it. And so that is why, for anybody who may watch this and not agree or disagree with me not speaking to the police, and again, everybody is in a place where we are in a place where everybody has to choose their own ideology and their own belief system. And so what is important for me to point out is that these are the people who are the number one suspects to me. Until something else is pointed out or something else is proven, these are the people at the top of the suspect list. When we came back, looked at the cameras, the police came back, the police came, asked people if they wanted to make statements. I decided to not take a statement. The bullet that had hit the bullet that was shot at us, that had hit the ground. Bro, if you want to know, there's some more chairs over there. You already know. Okay, I'm holla at you, bro. Be safe out here, bro. Love.
I love you, man.
I'm gonna holla at you. again, the bullet that was on the ground, we picked the bullet up, we put the bullet in a bag. I wanted to keep the bullet because I wanted to come on live and to hold up the bullet that somebody tried to put inside of me. And I believe it's 100% my right to do that, because I know how these police work and these police get down. Ain't gonna be no onus on them trying to figure out who it is that tried to kill us and tried to shoot us. We could have got hit with the bullet and it wouldn't have been no onus on them to figure out who did it. I know last year 50% of the murders that happened here went unsolved. They didn't go unsolved because the police don't got enough funding and don't got enough money to figure out who did it. They went unsolved because the police don't care about it. And so I'm not, again, I have not been out here saying these things about these institutions for my ideology to change once I am in a position in which I'm in danger or I'm in harm. Again, until it is proven, until it is shown, until they line up the person and they got all types of evidence that says this person not connected to the police and they did this of their own volition or completely separate from the police has something to do with this happening. When we sat amongst ourselves and we spoke about why this happened or who would have done it, everything leads back to the police department. Everything leads back to these institutions we are protesting and demonstrating. And so I do not trust them with my safety or with my life. I do not trust them to do the work to find out who it is that did these things. And so I had my personal desire was to hold on to that bullet and was to come on this live and to hold this bullet up and to say that this right here is this city. And I wish I had the bullet, because that bullet is the perfect description and picture of this city. The violence workers that are inside of that police department, the violence workers that are inside of that jail, they perpetuate violence into this community on a regular basis, and it's embedded into this community. And that did not start 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It started 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. And until we start addressing these institutions and start addressing these people who get paid to implement violence, there will always be civilian and citizen violence at a much higher clip than it needs to be. And so the bullet that was on the ground, we, without touching it with our fingers, put the bullet inside of a bag, wrapped the bag up, put the bullet in the car. The police would come later on. The police would come later on, and I wasn't there when this happened, but the police would eventually get the bullet. And I take 100% fault for that. That's a mistake that was a tactical mistake and an ideological mistake on my part. I should have taken that bullet and I should have walked my ass down to City Hall and I should have started a live immediately. But I did not do that. The police department has that bullet. I do not trust that bullet will be in better use in their hands than it would have been in my hands. It would have been in our hands. I would have much preferred for those police officers to be in a position where they had to come back to us to look for that bullet, to try to get that bullet, and then they could answer to us with how far their investigation has got, and the video surveillance, because that's all that it is video surveillance that needs to be shared. And so the moment that they decide to, and they could have went to the Justice Center right after, right then in that moment when they got the video footage. It wasn't the easiest case that they got. And so, anyways, police would come. Police would end up with the bullet and leaving with the bullet. After the police would leave with the bullet, we would talk amongst ourselves. And as we talked amongst ourselves, we had to figure out, so who would be the likely culprits? Who are the people that is likely to have done this? What's different about today than some of the other days? Is it safe to go back to City Hall still? Do we continue the occupation still? Do we continue to protest still? Do we continue demonstrations still? Do we relent? Is this a sign that to take a step back? These were all conversations that were had in some sense or another. And so I'll start off with the conversation about who done it, the who was responsible conversation. So in that conversation, we have to point out what's different about today than every other day. We've been doing this for however many hundreds of days, 300 plus days. If somebody wanted to do something to us, they had plenty of opportunity through these different days to do it. Is it something that happened? What happened specifically today different than the other days? And as anybody who is from the city of Rockford knows, today was a very different day than other days in the city of Rockford, because Carla Red was sworn in as the new chief of police. we were outside demonstrating as Carla Red was sworn in as the new chief of police. I also don't think that the irony is not lost on me that in the first day of a black woman being the chief of police, somebody shot at protesters who protesting about the sanctity of black lives. That's not lost on me either. But anyways, Carla Red's family was going all up inside the building. As many people, I don't know how many people do or don't know this, but there has been a lot of conjecture about Carla Red's connections and Carla Red's past, or Carla Red's present, or Carla Red's affiliations, and not on the police side, but on the street side of things. And so, is it a possibility that somebody some Uncle Tom or some house Negro or some sellout black person decided they didn't like that people were protesting while Carla Red became the new chief of police, and maybe they tried to come out and kill us as some type of reward, or something like a reward, or some type of prize for Carla Red becoming the new chief of police. Like, here, I just handed you the protesters' lives on a silver platter. So I don't know. Maybe that's what was going on. Maybe they decided they had a new chief of police. Maybe that's the thing. You give the chief of police, like on The Godfather, when the Godfather's daughter gets married, or the Don Corleone's daughter got married, and people was bringing them gifts and asking for favors. Maybe somebody was Carla Red's the new police godfather, and they was gonna go kill the protesters for her. So I don't know. Same thing. I don't have the paperwork here, but the maintenance worker who works inside of here. Damn, I can't even remember this man's name. I can't remember his name. But we got served with papers, and in the papers, he stated that he felt threatened, and he felt worried, and felt worried for safety and things of that nature. And felt that something's gonna happen to his family. All things that's bullshit. Again, none of these people are in any fear of their lives, or any fear of any type of physical hurt or physical harm coming to them, because we have never, in the entirety of the time that we have been, not just in this occupation, but that we have been protesting, have we brought bodily harm or physical harm to anyone. The only people who have been implementing bodily harm and physical harm are the violence workers that wear blue in this city, are the violence workers who have a gun and a badge and get justified with every action that they make. Not us. We have been the ones trying to plead for a more humane community, for a less violent community, for a more empathetic and a more understanding community. And so, but the people who we are protesting against, the people who we are speaking out against, are all people who use violence. They are all people who identify with violence. They are all people who find it okay to shoot and to kill and to maim people for the smallest of things. So it's not out the realm of possibility. And again, besides just even Carla Red's, the swearing in of Carla Red, all types of police officers were outside at this event, or inside this event, or coming to this event. A litany of police officers. So it's not even out of the realm of possibility that one of those police officers' loved ones or families or friends or affiliates were the ones who decided to take up this action, and were the ones who decided to try to kill somebody, to murder somebody. And again, that is not overstating it. It's not overstating it. Bullets don't got no names. Bullets have no names. And again, the manner in which this person missed was not in a sense of which they were shooting to miss. This was somebody who came by shooting to kill, shooting to hit. They wanted somebody to get struck with these bullets. It was a happenstance that nobody did get struck with these bullets. It was a coincidence that no one did get struck with these bullets. More police officers came out to tear down the memorials than came out to investigate that shooting, which is, I'm not surprised by. That's status quo. That's the regular modus operandi. Thankfully, nobody got. I mean, we would have had a car to put the person in if they would have got hit. But another thing that should be pointed out is that if somebody would have got hit with one of them bullets, and if the person didn't get put in the car and then driven to the hospital, they would have let whoever got hit with the bullet lay out there until they checked the scene and made sure the scene was was okay, and the person probably would have got shot with a bullet and bled to death out there, which has been the reason multiple other people have died in this community, in this city, is that somebody shoots them, and instead of the police department and the medics putting them on a stretcher and getting them to the putting them on a stretcher, getting them in an ambulance and getting them to the nearest hospital in a timely manner, they say that they're waiting to preserve the scene or keep the scene safe, and they let people die out in the streets. Police shit. Hold on, where my notebook? I don't watch Law and Order enough. I think I can do an investigation. So if I gotta say what enemies? Do you have any enemies? That's always one of the first questions that they ask. They ask people, do you got any enemies? And so I'm gonna ask myself that. Leslie, do you have any enemies? Yes, I do. I actually have a long list of enemies. It's about 320 police officers. I don't know how many people work inside City Hall, but it's a nice amount of workers that's inside City Hall that I don't know what other word I could use besides enemies to describe them when they constantly are weaponizing the police. Maybe that's what happened too. Maybe one of the city workers got tired of trying to weaponize the police and get the police to come down here and do their dirty work for them, and they decided that they gonna go do it themselves. It looked like a 9. The bullet looked like it was a 9mm bullet that hit. We had some conversation around that too, trying to figure out the size of the bullet. But so let's do this. I got this pen. Where's this pen at? Here go the pen. I was looking for my pen. Sorry. Let's do this. Enemies. The Rockford Police Department. Now I know that's real broad to just put Rockford Police Department. I think that we need to put specific names. And so again, the most recent protest that we were at, the most recent thing that we did that may have upset people around the Rockford Police Department was being at Carla Red swearing in. So Carla Red's name at the top of the list. Now with Carla, the new chief of police, think about that. The new chief of police, the prime suspect. Now, do I think Carla Red was the one who did the shooting? No, I don't think Carla Red was the one who did the shooting. But did Carla Red have some connection to the person who did the shooting? I think that's a very good possibility. So we're going to put Carla Red there at the top. Now, I think one of the other people that we have to also put at the top who has been a constant enemy and who has been a constant person who has done things to put people at risk and in jeopardy who have been around these protests is Tom McNamara. So I think we have to put Tom McNamara's name down here as well. Now, did Tom McNamara come out there and shoot the 9 himself? No, I don't think Tom McNamara came out there and shot the 9 himself. But did somebody connected to Tom McNamara, or somebody who is friends with Tom McNamara or have association with Tom McNamara, could they have been the ones who did it? I think that's a very good possibility. And then we have to put Jay Hanley, the state's attorney, who was also at all these people we naming, Carla Red, Tom McNamara, Jay Hanley, all the suspects, all the prime suspects, they were all at this swearing-in ceremony today. All of them were at the swearing-in ceremony today of Carla Red. So do I think Jay Hanley himself got out there in a suit and tie outside of the jail and was shooting out bullets, trying to kill protesters? No, I don't think he was doing it himself. But do I think that somebody who has an association with him or some type of connection with him could have been involved? 100%. Simon, that is the name of the racist maintenance worker who went and got stalking no contact orders on us. Simon Cunnilingus is his name. Do I think Simon Cunnilingus was the person who came out and shot the gun the 9mm at us outside of City Hall? No, I think that's unlikely, but I think it's more likely that he did it himself than these other 3 names would have done it themselves. So we have to put Simon down as well. And then we got Rockford Orthopedic. We've had some issues with Rockford Orthopedic, so I think we got to at least put Rockford Orthopedic down as a, not a primary. This is secondary suspects. Let's go into secondary suspects. Rockford Orthopedic. Now, Kyle and Marge Bevers. For those who don't know, Kyle and Marge Bevers, they own the Subway downtown. Kyle and Marge Bevers were the white vigilantes that came out here washing away the chalk that we had with the names of people who have been killed by the police department. And so Kyle and Marge Bevers are 100% secondary suspects. Kyle Bevers and Marge Bevers. And to point this out again, Simon C. The racist maintenance worker, he was also at Carla Red swearing in today. And Kyle Bevers, we saw Kyle Bevers at Carla Red swearing in. He drove by us. Look at that. Kyle Bevers and Mars Bevers, secondary suspects. Now, again, for me personally, now I know it's some people who may know some of these people's names and who's watching from at home and saying, "Oh, it's no way that it was them, no way that was them." I would implore you to look in, go watch some documentaries. Go watch some whodunit documentaries. That's what everybody need to go do tonight. Go watch some whodunit documentaries, and I promise you, after you come back from them documentaries, you will see that sometimes it's the person that you least expect, that would do these things. Let's see. So primary suspects: Carla Red, Tom McNamara, Jay Hanley, Simon C. I think Kyle. A minute, we got Kyle Saunders. Kyle Saunders also was suspect. Kyle Saunders was at the courthouse today for Antar's trial, and conveniently, Kyle Saunders left about 25 minutes before somebody attempted to murder us and shot at us. So we have to put Kyle Saunders' name down. Again, this is the part that people ain't really understanding, is that even if these are not the people who was holding the gun themselves, pointing the gun themselves, it is such a slim chance that whoever did this does not have some sort of connection or some sort of affiliation or association with these people here. These are the people here who would best be benefited from us being murdered, who would best be benefited from us being shot, who would best be benefited from us being scared and intimidated and not continuing with the protest and with the demonstration. Oh, Clyde, you right, Clyde, KKK Clyde. Oh shit, you right. That's right. See, there we go. See, we on the right page now. And actually, Clyde's real name is Ralph. So we gonna put Clyde down. But his real name is Ralph. And he's a veteran, so he probably has access to firearms. Ralph. There we go. Okay. So we got primary suspects and we got secondary suspects. The primary suspects for the attempted murder of protesters is Carla Red, the new chief of police, Tom McNamara, the mayor of the city of Rockford, Illinois, Jay Hanley, the state's attorney of Winnebago County, Illinois, Simon, the racist maintenance worker inside the city hall, Kyle Saunders, the racist manager of public works, KKK Clyde, aka Ralph, the racist vigilante that come and tear down the memorials or rip the memorials down, and then secondary suspects we have Kyle Bevers and Mars Bevers, and Rockford Orthopedic, the workers at Rockford Orthopedic. How many of these people got alibis? What's Carla Red alibi? We need Carla Red alibi, Tom McNamara alibi, Jay Hanley alibi, Simon C alibi, Kyle Saunders alibi. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I have forgot Kyle was there. Kyle was there. And one of the things, this is why, and I ain't want to say this before because I ain't want to speak shit to existence. But it is multiple people who work inside this building who have all the what's the word I'm looking for? They got all the indications of being fucking sociopaths, of being fucking psychopaths. They got all the indications of it. And I had long fucking thought that one of the dangers of being out here is that one of these crazy ass white folks was gonna get fired from their job one day, come in this motherfucker, shoot up the city hall, and then damn near try to shoot us while we outside. So I would not be surprised if it was Kyle Saunders, or Jessica. Jessica, I think that's the name of one of the people who work inside City Hall. I wouldn't be surprised if it was any of these people. So let's put down for secondary suspects as well, Public Works team. Rockford Public Works team. Rockford Public Works team. Now we must have this conversation as well too, which is a little bit when we start speaking about people who suspected or may be involved in this. We have to also have the conversation that maybe it's not one of the people that we would typically expect to be considered our enemies, or we would typically expect to be involved in this. The people who have the most obvious reasonings. It's very possible that it is some random. Excuse me. It's very possible that it is some random person who has been keeping up with all the things that we are doing with protests and demonstrations, and with keeping up with all of those things, have decided that they want us to stop, that they don't want this to happen anymore, that they may not have any connection to any of these people specifically. It may simply just be the case that they're racist. What up, brother? You know it. And so those are things that we have to also weigh out. This could have been just some random person who's been keeping up with all of this, and they came out and they attempted to murder us and kill us. And again, but even with that being said, the climate that the city of Rockford, the climate that the police department, the climate that the state's attorney have put into this city around these protests and these demonstrations is what would lead to some white vigilante taking it upon themselves to try to murder somebody, to try to be fucking Lee Harvey Oswald. I think Harvey Lee Oswald, whatever his fucking name is. But until proven otherwise, until I can see it, until I see it proven otherwise, Carla Red, Tom McNamara, Jay Hanley, Simon the racist maintenance worker, Kyle Saunders, KKK Clyde are the prime suspects. And then Rockford Orthopedic, Kyle Bevers, Marge Bevers, and the Public Works team are secondary suspects. Now, I think that as we keep going on with this and having conversations about this and diving into this, more suspects will arise, more people will arise. But all these people, what's these people's alibis like? Now, is we gonna ever get to find out what any of these people's alibis are? No, we are not. We would have been if we wanted to really find out who did this, we would have been in a better position if somebody would have got struck by the bullet, and then we had something that we could take to be national news. And I do want whoever did this to understand this, because I'm sure whoever did this is probably watching. I would imagine whoever did this is watching. I don't know if I can go through and click and see all the viewers, but again, I'm sure whoever did this is fucking watching. This is not your success in this murder attempt, or your success in this shooting attempt was not going to make this stop. Was not going to make less people know about this. More people was gonna know about this. More people was gonna be paying attention to this. More people gonna watch this live than watch the live when the shooting happened, and watch the live before and all of this. This will be the live and besides the police department coming here, this will be the biggest live. This will be the live with the most views. If you would have hit somebody with that bullet and struck somebody with that bullet, whether you killed them or they stayed alive, whatever happened, it would not have ended there. This story would have ballooned and become even bigger. And that remains the case now and going forward in the future. If it is racist ass white people or Uncle Tom ass Negroes that are willing to take somebody's life, to further their political beliefs, they should know that it is people who are willing to risk their life to further their political beliefs. You should know that I did not come out here. I did not get involved with these things without hearing about James Meredith, who got shot in Mississippi for trying to do a march, without hearing about Martin Luther King Jr., who was stabbed by a woman while he was doing a book reading, who was senile, and then who was murdered in Memphis, Tennessee. I did not do these things without hearing about Malcolm X, who had multiple attempts on his life before he was murdered in New York. None of these things, the same thing with Angela Davis being falsely imprisoned and having her life in danger. The same thing with Huey Newton being shot by police. Bobby Seale being shot at by police. The list goes on and on and on when it comes to people who have stood up. Che Guevara being murdered as a revolutionary. All of these things are things in which I'm well versed in, I'm well educated in, I'm well informed in, and I did not come out here to run at the first sight of danger. I did not come out here to run at the first sight of things, of somebody trying to use violence to get us to stop what it is that we are doing. The same way that these false arrests, that racist ass Carla, that Fucking racist ass Carla Red, racist ass Tom McNamara, racist ass Jay Hanley, racist ass Kyle Saunders. The same way that these false arrests will not deter me from doing these things, neither will these shit like what happened down at the Justice Center. Will murder attempts and assassination attempts, or whatever superlative word you want to use for it. The world, not just the city, not just the state, the world will know about the evils that exist within this city, will know about the evils that exist within this county, and it will know about people like Carla Red who have benefited off of the evils of this society and the evils of this community instead of trying to rid them. People like Tom McNamara who has benefited and been privileged by the evils of this community and the evils of this society instead of trying to rid them. People like Jay Hanley who has benefited off of the evils of this society and the corruptness of this system that's in this city instead of trying to change it. The world will know about all of these people, and the bullets that you shooting out the gun is just going to get us to that place quicker. It's just going to get us to that place quicker. I've said it once before and I say it again. I'm 100% willing to die for all the things that I say. I'm 100% willing to die for all the things that I believe. And because I know that the only way that I got to this place is with other black people being willing to die so that I could be in this place, so that I could have these opportunities. Is that what I want? Of course not. I want to live. Of course not. I want to live a full age, live to an old age, have more children, have grandchildren, have great-grandchildren. I got a grandfather that's 82 that's been blessed enough to see his great-grandchildren, that hopefully he lived long enough to see his great-great-grandchildren. I would love to enjoy those same fruits of life, but I will not sacrifice my integrity to enjoy those things. I will not sacrifice my belief system to enjoy those things. I will not sacrifice my ideology to enjoy those things. I will not. I know that it is not about the length of your life, but it's about the width of your life. And for the last 15 months, 16 months, I've lived my life wider than majority of the people in this city, in this community. I've lived my life wider than Carla Red. I've lived my life wider than Tom McNamara and Jay Hanley and Kyle Saunders and the litany list of these either violence workers or racists who we have dealt with and interacted with in these past 15 months. We are as we've said multiple times, and we will continue to say, we are in the midst of history being written. You don't run from history. You don't run from history. We are on the right side of history. All right. For anybody who may be unaware what is going on, I'm gonna just go through this one more time because I think that the batteries is getting low, and I'm sort of double talking myself, and I probably need to take a little bit of time to reevaluate some of these things, and I need to smoke a blunt. I just want to plug this charger in real quick. Hold on. Okay. So, anybody who may be picking up this live right now, or anybody who did not see the beginning of this, I'm just going to go through this one more time. So today, outside of the Justice Center, we set up our table, we set up our camera, and went live as Antar went to trial. The first protester, to have a trial for these things, for these accusations that people have been, for these arrests around the demonstrations. As we had the table set up and we were going through the live just like how we are now, talking about everything that was going on and speaking about the trial inside, maybe an hour and a half into the live, as we were at the table, somebody came from up the street, and it had to be up the street this way, and they shot 7 times. Again, this is completely, all of this is on camera. All of this is video documented for anybody who may feel as if this is an exaggeration, or anybody who may feel as if this is some type of dramatization. All of these things are on video. So we're doing the live. I'm sitting down in a chair. Ari was standing up. Terry was standing up. A community member was sitting down. And as we were doing the live, you hear 7 shots. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. All right. On the last shot, you hear I can see Terry as he's reacting as the bullet, he says, 2 bullets whiz by his head. He could feel the air from the bullets going by him. I did not know where the shots were coming from. It took me a second to react as I was trying to look to see where the shots was coming from. And then I seen a bullet ricochet off the ground. Excuse me, not ricochet off the ground. I heard a bullet ricochet off of the table. It sounded like it hit some metal. At the time I didn't know if it hit the table or it hit the chair. But once I heard it hit the table and I could tell where the bullets were coming from, me and Ari took off in the opposite direction. What would happen is about 5 minutes or so later, me and Ari would walk back to where we were at. Terry would pick up the microphone and would continue talking about what it is that happened and what it was that was going on. The police would not, there was no rushing of police to the scene or police pulling up to see what happened. How police pull up here, for anybody who's seen the tear down memorials with 15 cops, that's not what happened. The police, the way they pull up with their lights on for Rockford Orthopedic and shut down the street for Rockford Orthopedic is not what happened. These police officers came 10-15 minutes later after they had been called by a community member. And when the police department came and got there, before the police department would come and get there, me and Ari would walk back over. When we walked back over, because I had heard the bullet hit something on the side of the table, I went immediately to look for the bullet. Within seconds of coming back to the table, I found where the bullet was at. Again, it was inches away, not even a foot, inches away from where I was sitting at, inches away from where Ari was standing at. And as Terry said, the bullets went inches, breezed by his face. So for anybody who may try to say, oh, somebody wasn't really shooting at you, somebody wouldn't try to shoot at you or anything in front of the jail or in front of the Justice Center or in front of all the police, that is exactly what happened. Whoever did this, it is a coincidence that they did not hit somebody in a bullet. It hit somebody with those bullets. It is a coincidence that those bullets did not enter someone. A coincidence. That is it. It is not because this person was such a great shot and they were just trying to scare people or because they shot in the air. The bullets were shot at us. And it wasn't a crowd of people and like it could have been some other person that they were trying to shoot at. No, they were trying to shoot at us and they were trying to kill us. It's no other. We don't shoot at nobody for no other reason. The same way that I've spoken about Jose Gonzalez Jr. being shot by the Rockford Police Department in the leg, and I call that attempted murder because anytime a bullet enters somebody's body, it can lead to them being dead. And if you were attempting to put bullets in somebody's body, you were attempting to kill them. What that just happened down there was an attempted murder. So we came back, we looked to see where the bullet was at. It looked like a 9mm bullet. We put the bullet into a bag and we wrapped the bag up, and put the bag in the car. The police will come later and end up taking the bullet for evidence or whatever. Again, that was a mistake on my part. What I should have done is I should have came here with the bullet and went live with the bullet and showed people the bullet. And again, the reason I should have done those things is because I do not trust the police department. I do not trust the county sheriff's deputies. I do not trust the state's attorney. I do not trust any of these people. I 100% believe that any danger that any of us are in is 100% because of these people. Is 100% because of these institutions. They are institutions of violence. So when violence is implemented, it's going to take a whole lot of proof for me to believe that they didn't have some type of connection to the violence. Because all the violence that has happened to us up to this point has been in connection to either the police department or some type of white vigilante, some type of racism. So if somebody is gonna have to they're gonna have to do a whole lot of digging up of proof and receipts and evidence for me to not believe that this is either connected to A, police terrorism, or B, racial injustice. This is either some crooked ass affiliates of police officers and the police department. Because I do believe if it was a police officer themselves, they would have accomplished what it was that they was out there doing. Or even if it was something that the police directly paid for to have happen or something like that, it would have been accomplished what they had doing. But that does not mean that it is not somebody who is associated with the police department who took it upon themselves to try to implement Jim Crow justice. Because that's what this took place out there. Somebody tried to implement Jim Crow justice. And so we picked up the bullet, put the bullet in a bag. Me and Ari would walk down and see where it was cameras at. We would walk down to see if it was any witnesses to talk to see if they knew what happened, if they seen anything that happened. Not waiting for the police, not expecting the police, not calling the police for the police to do any of these things. And what we would see is that it was one man who was outside of Crusader Clinic. I think that's what it's called down there. One man who was outside, he said that he's heard the shots about 15 minutes ago, but he didn't see anybody. He didn't see anything. We would go ask some other people that would say that they weren't outside and that they didn't see anything. And then finally, we would walk and try to find all the places that there were video cameras outside that may have been able to have the footage of what it was that just took place out there. And what we found is that the Justice Center, no surprise, is littered with video cameras down the whole wall, the whole side of the wall. Video camera. They all the 360 cameras too, so they got a wide angle of shit, which is not a surprise because they want to make sure that they capture everything that's going on there. And so whoever did this is on the videos at the Justice Center doing this. Whoever did it is on video there. There's also videos at the video cameras at the Crusader Clinic. Whoever it was that did this whoever it was that did this, it is unlikely that they are not also on the videos at Crusader Clinic. And so, again, for me, this is something that could be figured out tonight. And they can have this figured out tonight and in the morning. This is an open and shut. All they got to do is go look through the videos. They don't need no statements from us. They don't need no statements from nobody that was down there. All they got to do is go through the video footage and find out who it is that went down there and tried to kill us and tried to murder us. And there's no other way to put these things. There is no other way to put these things. And again, this goes to show you how fucked up this city is, how corrupt this city is, how deeply steeped in racism this city is, that these things are happening and can happen like this regularly. Oh, good looking, bro. And again, the only thing today, different about today than yesterday and the day before yesterday, is Carla Red was sworn in as the police chief. For all these black people that's out here telling me, and again, one of the things I want to point out too is that, there you go, bro. One of the things I want to point out again too is that when we were outside of this swearing in of Carla Red, there were multiple police officers who we had contentious interactions with. There are multiple people who I assume to be family or relatives of Carla Red, or friends of Carla Red, associates of Carla Red, who we had contentious interactions with. When I say contentious, for me personally, I'll speak of Joel Gibbons, who is an assistant deputy chief at District 1. He came out and I had words for him. The words I have for him, I asked him if he spoke to the Metro enforcement agent who lied on a police report to have me arrested. Because Joe Gibbons, another person who's black in a uniform, who lets these white people run amok with racism, Joe Gibbons told me that if he found out this Metro had lied on the police report, then that would be a problem for the Metro. Which, of course, was bullshit. He's in bed with the Metros. He's not going to do nothing for the Metros for lying on the police report. But that was an interaction I had with Joe Gibbons. What's the other dude named? The Park Police. Theo Glover. Theo Glover went inside of this swearing in. Again, like I said, all the who's who of police officers were there, especially the Negroes. The House Negroes was in full effect. They have front row seating. Theo Glover would go inside. When Theo Glover went inside, I said to him, How you feel about those little girls getting pepper sprayed in that area that you said would be a designated protest area? Last year when we had the city market protest, me and Theo Glover had a conversation, and he said that nothing would happen to anybody inside the designated protest area. He said he was from Birmingham, Alabama, and he wasn't nothing like Bull Connor. And then the next day, 24 hours later, children would be pepper sprayed in that designated protest area that he set up, that he said nothing would happen to people in. And then also, he would be walking around with the megaphone trying to disperse the crowd illegally, doing it in the same way that Bull Connor did. And so I asked him about those things. And so that's what some of the interactions were like. And so again, when you start pointing to suspects, Joel Gibbons is a suspect. Theo Glover is a suspect. These are the people who are the suspects in the attempted murder of protesters. The people who are being protested. And again, it just goes to show the type of corrupt city this is, the type of crooked this city this is, where on the swearing in of a new black police chief, somebody attempts to murder protesters outside of the Justice Center. And so one of the things that we have to continue to be vigilant about is not allowing intimidation tactics to get us to change our ideology, to get us to change our integrity, to get us to change our belief pattern. And again, it was a conversation after the shooting happened, after the police had left, of what we were going to do. Do we continue the occupation in City Hall? And I would be lying if I didn't say that. Here you go, bro. I'll be lying at it. What's up, man? I'll be lying that if I said that in some manner I didn't believe that. I would be lying if I said that after this shooting happened that I was just, oh yeah, I'm going back to City Hall and I had no worries or no fears, or I wasn't scared or any of these other human emotions that come after something like this happened. I felt all of those things, but they did not usurp the fact that I knew that if it was that easy to get us to stop, if it was that simple to get us to stop, then the next time we did something, or if we stopped now and figured out a way to regroup differently, all somebody would have to do is do the same thing again to get us to move off of our square, to get us to move off of our belief system. And I also believe that you not only have to have the courage of your convictions, you have to be willing to prove to people that you have the courage of your convictions. And the only way to do that was to be back down here outside of City Hall after this happened. The only way to do that is to continue with all the things that we were doing before the shooting happened. Because if we veer off, of course, from any of the things that we were doing before, it gives not only credence to the people who did these things, but it gives power to those people to feel as if this is all they have to do to get people to stop, or to get people to stop speaking out, or to get people to stop having outcry about things. And that's false. That is a completely false notion. It's a completely false notion. It is going to take more than that. That's all right, but it ain't enough. And that is not being said in a braggadocious manner or in an egotistical manner. That is being said from the most vulnerable, from the most naked position possible. If whoever it is that was at the Justice Center is deciding to spin the block or to be back tomorrow, and nothing is changing. We staying with the occupation in City Hall. We continuing to press forward. We continuing to push forward. Again, we are in the midst of history being written. And I will not allow, we will not allow these racists and these cop apologists to take the pen and to start changing the narrative of history. We have said from the inception and from the beginning of these things that these are the tactics that these institutions use. We have said since the beginning of these things that this is part of the American society. This is part of the American way. So again, it is not a surprise that it has manifested. If anything, somebody may say it's not a surprise it didn't manifest sooner. And so again, it's no way to know who did these things. In this moment, we don't know who did these things. My father's all thinking like, it went out though. Oh, did they still buy? Oh shit, my fault. And so, but it's no way for us to know right now who did this. But I think that right now we can 100% know why somebody did this. And to me, that is the dialogue that we need to be having. That is the conversation to be had right now. Why would somebody attempt to shoot people protesting? Why would some people attempt to murder people that's out demonstrating and exercising their rights? And I believe the answer to that is within the things that we have been highlighting. Police terrorism is why somebody would do it. Mass incarceration and racial injustice, these things are why somebody would do it. The stigmatization that happens to people of color in this community are why. The criminalization, the dehumanization. And one of the things I also want to be aware of is that we don't allow whoever the one culprit is to be used as a divisive tool or a divisive tactic. And what I mean by that is, if this person is found out to be a 25-year-old black male who did it for whatever what the reason is, that we do not allow that to cloud the fact that what the reason that they did it, why they did it, is because of the issues that we are highlighting. Again, we have to remember that it is not going to always, in 2021, racism does not always look the way that it used to look and the way you expect it to look. Malcolm X was shot and killed by black people. It was racism that led to Malcolm X being murdered. It was the FBI that colluded and conspired for his murder to take place. I appreciate you, bro. Love you, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna be into it with you, bro. So we have to keep that in mind. The same thing. So whoever it is found out, and the same thing, we're not going to be able to say, for all we know, the police could pick some random person up and say, this is who did it, or this was the person that was involved in it or whatever. And it'll be a year, 2 years before all the evidence come out and we even find if any of that shit is true. So I don't think that we can even hinge where we are at on this person being caught or the person being some 50-year-old white man that fits the description. What we have to focus our conversation on and our dialogue on right now is the why that this person did these things, the reasoning that this person would do these things, and all of those things again point to what we are out here for, point to what we are trying to raise awareness and highlight. And so I've gotten to the place where I'm definitely 100% double talking myself, and probably finna say some shit I don't need to say. Emotions are definitely high. Like I said, I really wish I had that fucking bullet so I could hold that bullet up. We gonna end this live. We gonna end this live the way we always end them. It's gonna be a stronger sentiment in this one. It's not lost on me that the last sounds that a lot of the people's names and faces that we have on these memorials, the last sounds that they heard is the sounds that we just heard a couple of hours ago. I got friends and people that I care about, loved ones that I care about, who the last sounds they heard are those sounds that we just heard not too long ago. So this gonna be a special rest in power. Rest in power to Demetrius Bennett. Rest in power to Logan Bell. Rest in power to Kerry Blake. Rest in power to Geno Washington. Rest in power to Jovan Fresco. Rest in power to Philip Johnson. Rest in power to Jasper Banks. Rest in power to Suzette Babler. Rest in power to Faustin Guaitigo. Rest in power to Joseph McCormick. Rest in power to Shannon Graves. Rest in power Little Mike Sago. Rest in power Mikey Guzman. Rest in power Eddie Patterson. We outside. Still.